Although college football is now over 8 months from resuming, there's no reason why we can't talk about the season ahead. 2023, my way too early rankings, my top 25 for the 2023 season here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. And we start at the top with a familiar name. That's the Georgia Bulldogs, the next dynasty in college football. We, of course, have had Alabama, Clemson dominate the sport in recent time, but Georgia winning 2 straight championships, national championships. Kirby Smart has that program rolling. They will not take a big step backward, even though Stetson Bennett will be moving on. Georgia is my number 1 preseason. Alabama, speaking of dynasties, the Crimson Tide missing out on the playoff. Very rare occurrence for the Nick Saban college football playoff era. The Tide will be back, folks. My way too early rankings, I've got the Crimson Tide in second place. I think they're a playoff favorite for 2023. Ohio State is in my top 4 as well. CJ Stroud is gone, but they just reload at quarterback. And although Ryan Day has proved he has some issues, I think there's no question about it. There have been some issues performing in the big games. I'm talking about the Michigan game and certainly in the playoff in recent time. Michigan, speaking of the Wolverines, they are my number 4 team. Obviously disappointing result once they got to the playoff, but they've dominated the Ohio State series for 2 straight years. Jim Harbaugh, the one thing I have a question about with the Wolverines is this is his 2nd straight year of flirting with the NFL. How much can he continue to do that and still somehow preserve the loyalty of his own students, his own student athletes? That's my question. But I've got Michigan as my number 4 team. How about Tennessee? I've got them a little higher than a lot of people do. Hendon Hooker leaving, but Joe Milton looked really good in the Orange Bowl. I've got the Volunteers at number 5. Washington at number 6. How about Michael Penix? That guy's coming back for another year. Everybody thought he was left for dead after transferring from Indiana, had the knee injury. What a year for Michael Penix, putting up massive numbers out for the Huskies. Washington is my number 6 team. Caleb Williams will be back. The Trojans losing in the Cotton Bowl to Tulane, but the Trojans will be back. Remember, they were in the playoff hunt late in the season. I think they'll be in the playoff hunt again in 2023. Brian Kelly and LSU are there at number 8. Utah, Cam Rising returns. I've got them at number 9. Clemson going through an OC change. I've got them at number 10 with Garrett Riley leading that offense. Notre Dame is at number 11. Still some questions about Notre Dame, but I've got them at number 11 based a lot on talent, and they are on the trend upward if you look at the second half of the 2022 season. Mike Norvell's got the Seminoles rolling. I've got them at number 12. Penn State, Sean Clifford's been there forever. He is now gone. They looked really good in the Rose Bowl, but I've got questions about them, and that's why I've got Utah ahead of Penn State despite the bowl result. I just have big questions at quarterback for Penn State, but they do have a lot of talent returning. James Franklin seems to be content as the head coach at Penn State. I've got Penn State at number 13. Number 14, how about DJ Uiagalelei transferring in from Clemson? He's a Beaver now. I've got Oregon State at 14. Talk about trending upwards. The Beavers, despite maybe not having a home in a couple of years via conference, a major conference, I've got Oregon State at number 14. How about Quinn Ewers? Going to be in a quarterback battle with Arch Manning. I've got them at number 15. Will Howard, Keegan Johnson, the Iowa transfer, leading that Kansas State offense at number 16. I've got Oregon, the Ducks at 17. TCU, national runners-up. They lose Max Duggan. I don't know that they can sustain what they did in 2022. I have serious questions about that. I've got them at number 18. Texas Tech, really impressive in their bowl game. I've got them at 19. We'll come back to Iowa. I got them at 20. Maryland, Talia Tagovailoa coming back at number 21. How about an OC change at Arkansas? They add transfer portal wide receivers Tyrone Broden from Bowling Green, Isaac Tisla from Hillsdale. They've got an opportunity, but again, they're going through that unexpected OC change there. Tulane, they're dealing with some coaching adjustments as well, but they won the Cotton Bowl, very impressive fashion. They will be in the top 25. North Carolina at 24. And how about James Madison? Their first year in the FBS, incredibly impressive, and I think they're back and strong in 2023. I mentioned Iowa at number 20. Here's the deal, folks. I've got Iowa at number 20 with no offensive coordinator change. Iowa makes a change for the better. I could easily project them to be top 13, top 14. And you may say, well, there's not a huge difference there. Well, there is. There is a huge difference because we're talking about a difference between, I think, potentially 9-3, maybe even 10-2 without a coordinator change, with a still poor offense. I think it'll be better than last year, even with Brian Ferentz there, because you add guys like Cade McNamara, Eric All, etc. But I still think that this team could be an 11-1, 10-2 team without question with an offensive coordinator change. And of course, you want to build for the future. So I've got them at 20, but upwards mobility if there's a change, which we'll talk about on a future segment. I've got a live show coming up for you on YouTube, a live YouTube show, Hawkeye Hangout, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Join me. We're going to talk about the Iowa offense, Brian Ferentz, etc. Join me Friday, 6 p.m. right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm on YouTube.